Okay, so there are a lot of multi-currency accounts available. We have some for freelancers, we have some for students, we have some that are built for investors, and we have some that are just like glorified travel cards. So today, Jan and I, we're going to be breaking down which ones we think are genuinely worth it and which are just a waste of time. Now, multi-currency accounts are relatively new, but they've exploded in popularity because most of the transactions we make today, or at least some of them, are across borders. So for example, if you have a ChatGPT subscription, that's probably billed in US dollars. Or if you buy an Airalo eSIM or an eSIM from Saley, again, probably billed in US dollars. So if you can hold USD or euros or yen in your account, then you can also spend them directly, which means skipping foreign exchange fees. But there's obviously a lot more to it. And I think, Jan, you're probably best positioned to talk to or talk about the benefits of a multi-currency account because you are a digital nomad and you are someone who's frequently being paid in foreign currencies. So can you give us a couple of reasons why they are beneficial and could be useful to someone? But also, can you explain why in some cases they're not really that necessary?
Yeah, Johnny, to be honest, I personally think they're quite overrated for most of the people at least. And that's due to the fact that many people won't take advantage of the local receiving details that could make a multi-currency account compelling. If you think about potential use cases, most multi-currency accounts, they allow you to exchange currency, hold different currencies in order to, spend like a local when you're abroad. That's at least the value proposition they're advertising. And that comes with some risk. There's some exchange rate timing risk. Obviously, if the exchange rate looks appealing right now, you could go ahead and convert your money into the foreign currency. But then you're essentially taking a risk that the currency, the exchange rate could change in the future. And if it changes if it becomes, less, if it drops or it rises, it's really hard to predict that. There are people doing that for a living, trying to predict currency exchange rates, and many fail. So why would you as a private consumer be able to do that? I understand that it comes with some peace of mind. If you've exchanged let's say you're planning a trip to the US, you exchange some euros into dollars beforehand, you at least know how much a trip is going to cost you, and you don't have the risk that let's say the euro becomes weaker and then things get more expensive there. But speaking from a general perspective, I think you'd be losing money with that, to be honest. So the local receiving details, the ability to receive money in a foreign currency, that's what makes multi-currency accounts appealing, in my opinion. And to be honest, my gut feeling is that most travelers, most people, they won't take advantage of that. Because when's the last time you've received money from the US, for example? I'm quite a niche case, to be honest. I have a lot of clients all over the world. I assume most people don't.
Do you think most people then could just do with a travel card that provides them with a decent exchange rate that they can then just, use can deposit pounds or whatever their local currency is, and then when they go abroad, they'll just tap that card and it'll be exchanged at the point of sale for like a good exchange rate without bad FX fees, but that is probably ample for most people.
Yeah, it's probably the best solution for most people. However, there are some benefits to multi-currency accounts as well. The only thing is you got to go ahead and use them, right? Also, let's talk about interest briefly. Interest rates vary by currency, right? You could technically go ahead and let's say convert euros to US dollars or British pounds. British pounds is a good example. You'd be essentially doubling the interest rate you're gonna receive with that. And some multi-currency accounts let you generate interest on different currencies as well. Can be quite useful. However, there's also risk attached to that. If you have your, let's say your daily living expenses, they're in euro. You convert your savings into US dollar. You want to convert it back, and if the exchange rate has dropped or something, you could end up losing money instead of earning any.
So what you're saying in that case is that would be someone who's converted their euros to US dollars to generate interest, but that could backfire because they may just end up, spending all the money that they generated in interest on like a poor currency exchange.
It could backfire. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So for most people, if you think about the average Joe, probably not the best idea, to be honest, because it comes with the risk I just mentioned.
Yeah. But when we're going to talk in a moment about Wise, for example, being the gold standard multi-currency account is a good example of one that you can earn interest with. If you are someone that's going to use these account details to be paid in US dollars, I mean, you're going to really benefit from the fact that you can potentially earn interest from those US dollars as well. Whereas like the alternative to that would be to have a British pound bank account that has like an international receiving details that those dollars could be sent to, which would enact a wire transfer, which would have costs for both parties, and then the money would be exchanged to British pounds from dollars. That sounds dreadful.
Not just dreadful, also expensive, Johnny. I think that's the major issue here. That's going to be really expensive.
Yeah, and that's one of the key benefits here. So if we look at Wise as our sort of gold standard multi-currency account, now I know a lot of people watching this will have already heard of. Having a Wise account is, and say you're someone that's a freelancer working, not necessarily in the US, but for a US company that needs to pay you in dollars. Being able to provide those local account details is going to benefit not only you, but also your employer, because they're not going to have to pay a wire transfer fee when they send you the money. That, Jan, is one of the great benefits of having those local account details. And the Wise account comes with 19 local account details, not just US dollars, but you can get currency accounts and details in a number of different currencies. Let's talk about it. So what have we got? We've got Australian dollars, we've got Canadian dollars, it's just some example. We've obviously got euros. I think you can get yen. There's 19. I think the Hungarian currencies are
foreign.
Thank you, Jan.
That's a huge benefit, Johnny, and that makes Wise the best multi-currency account out there, in my opinion, right now, at least for most people. They also let you hold up to 40 currencies, so even if you don't receive local account details in some, you still get to convert your money on the platform and hold these currencies, which can be useful, And then it's also a great travel card. We've discussed this before in previous episodes. The fees are just really low when you go ahead and spend money abroad. Also, they use the mid-market exchange rate, and there are no weekend markups or other gimmicks. So it's really straightforward multi-currency account, and that's why I think it's the best on the market. I know this might sound a little boring to people that have expected some huge surprise here in this episode, but just how it is. Wise is a great product, and we, even if you know it, it's probably the best out there right now.
Very little caveats, really, aren't there, Jan? I mean, you could potentially argue the fact that they're an e-money institution and not a licensed bank. So, you have different insurances for your deposits. When it's a licensed bank, you have protection in the UK at least up to £85,000 with an EMI. The money you deposit with Wise, it'll be ring-fenced in bank accounts under the likes of JP Morgan, Barclays, and that's how it's protected. So if Wise became insolvent, you'd receive your money back from those legacy banks, typically those big established banks. In my opinion, that's arguably just as safe as the UK government insuring your deposits. So that's not really a caveat, Jan. I just want to see if we can push back on Wise at all here, but I'm not sure if we can.
Yeah, I don't think we can, to be honest. I mean, there's some risk in transferring larger amounts. Might take some time, or due to manual reviews or other delays. They obviously want to make sure that the money comes from legit sources, which I totally understand. But you'll have that with most bank accounts, to be honest. Like even non-multi-currency accounts, traditional accounts. You'll go through inspections and delays and verifications. That's just all part of the process nowadays if you're handling large sums of money.
If you're buying property abroad, there may be some delays if it's a larger transfer, but as long as everything is legitimate, everything you've done is correct. If you're selling a house abroad, or if you're buying a house abroad, buying houses in foreign currencies or buying large assets in foreign currencies, it's going to be fantastic for that. And as we mentioned, you can earn interest on foreign currencies, Jan, which I think is awesome. The fact you can earn interest on US dollars and euros. The next provider, Revolut, who have a relatively compelling multi-currency account offering, they don't do interest like that, do they?
No, I don't think they do. Revolut has lots of features. One of them being a that they allow you to hold multiple currencies. But to be honest, that's probably not the main reason I'd open up a Revolut account. Revolut is great for feature maximizers, for people looking to solve all their banking, investing, crypto, travel, budgeting needs in one place. And I think that's a good summary. And Revolut is really good at that because they have this amazing app which is super intuitive, probably the best on the market in my opinion. If you look at banks in general, that makes them a compelling product. There are some downsides to it. From a banking perspective, if you don't decide to upgrade to Plus, Premium, Metal, or Ultra, you'll end up with a weekend fee of 1%, which can be super annoying. I'm someone who uses their Revolut account quite frequently, but I generally I recently stopped using them for foreign transactions due to the weekend markup fee on the standard plan. But what I forgot was that I had a subscription running. That was charged once a year, and was charged last Saturday, and that was incredibly frustrating. I believe I even went ahead and sent you a screenshot of the fee that I paid there, because I was annoyed. I mean, just a few dollars, but it was still very annoying to me at least, and that makes Revolut definitely less compelling than these other products.
Yeah. In a lot of the markets or countries around the world, both Revolut and Wise are going to be available to you. There's very few where it's like one or the other. And so if you're thinking about which one to use, if it's purely for multi-currency functionality, it's got to be Wise. Obviously, they don't have that 1% weekend fee. Their exchange rates as well are relatively similar, right? We've looked at this previously to try and compare the two. They are relatively similar, but in some cases, Wise come out more favorable than Revolut in terms of the exchange rates.
Yeah, Johnny, there's a slight difference though. While Wise uses the mid-market rate, Revolut uses their own Revolut rate. Wise then goes ahead and charges an exchange fee, which is very transparent, but it varies by currency pair. And what Revolut does is they just include the fee into the exchange rate. So they're quite similar, but it's a different way of charging fees here.
It's less transparent, isn't it?
Less transparent for sure, yeah. And that's a downside.
And, if you're getting the paid accounts from Revolut, you're going to benefit because you get discounted exchange rates, don't you? I suppose if you're on anything but basically standard or plus, right, you're going to get fee-free currency exchange. But if you're just getting a standard and plus account with Revolut, you've also got the fee to pay for after £1,000, I think, of currency exchange.
Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, if you're using this for a multi-currency account because you intend to deposit, you're probably depositing more than £1,000 or euros, whatever it is. That's not going to be very good. You're probably going to want to pay for the fee-free currency exchange, which is, it's a bit off-putting.
Yeah, it's quite expensive.
I think in this sense, Revolut is good, there's no doubt, but Wise is better. What about this next one, Jan? Trading 212. This is a different account, isn't it? This is a really interesting one.
Yeah.
Could you talk about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So what Trading 212 is, we've discussed it in a previous episode. It's an investment platform essentially that also comes with a card that lets you spend your money quite easily all over the world, and that for free essentially, right? There's a small FX fee attached to it, 0.15%, and it's a flat fee, so it doesn't really vary by currency. That's great, and lets you hold 13 global currencies, which it's not as much as Revolut or Wise, but it's still good. You get a British pound, US dollar, euro, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, and a few others. So it can be quite useful.
Yeah, you're not getting local account details. Don't think of this as an opportunity for a freelancer. If you're looking to invest in stock markets around the world, say, you want to buy Tesla in US dollars, then you can hold US dollars in this account and exchange them from, say, your local currency that could be British pounds for just like Jan said, 0.15%. That's market leading. That's really, really good, guys. If you're buying Porsche, you want euros to make that purchase, you can exchange pounds or whatever to euros and get that 0.15%. Again, that's really good. You're not going to find that anywhere else. Revolut, if you're going to buy foreign shares with Revolut, you're going to have to pay the Revolut rate plus a potential fee.
Right.
So that's where Trading 212 is such a compelling offering, isn't it, for buying foreign equities. It's really compelling.
Just one thing I'd like to criticize. So I'm using interactive brokers for my investing needs, and it's great, and it also lets you hold multiple currencies. And the reason why I'm so compelled by it is the fact that whenever there's a dividend payment coming in that foreign currency, it doesn't get automatically converted to my main currency, and that can be quite useful if you plan on reinvesting your dividends at some point. Let's say you're using Trading 212, you're holding Porsche stocks, for example, they're paying out a dividend. Your main currency is the British pound. Then Trading 212 converts that from euro into British pound beforehand. So you're paying a 0.15% fee. And then if you want to reinvest it at some point, you'd have to convert that back into the British pound, into the euro. Sorry, from the British pound. So you're essentially paying the fees twice. It's not significant because you mentioned the fee is very low. For just one thing to criticize here.
But it's just another fee. It's just another fee, and we should always be looking to try to reduce the fees that we pay.
Exactly.
This next one is big in the European Union. I think you're the person who's best to talk about them, but Bunq.
Bunq. It's a very good option if you ask me, if you're looking for one specific thing, and that is credit cards. The other banks that we just mentioned, they're using debit cards. Bunq offers credit cards, real credit cards that you can use to hire cars, for example, or use as a deposit when checking into a hotel. It's very useful. Also lets you hold up to 22 currencies, I believe. You get the ability to obtain certain IBANs, but that's kind of from my understanding, it's kind of a gimmick, because what they allow you is they give you, let's say you're living in the Netherlands, you'd get a Dutch IBAN. If you're living in France, you'd get a French IBAN. If you're living in Germany, you get a German IBAN. But I think you can't get a Dutch IBAN when living in Germany. At least it wasn't the case a few months ago when I looked into Bunq. Still quite useful. However, as you can use these IBANs anyways internationally within the whole SEPA area, there's no real benefit attached to that. They also allow you to generate interest on savings, and it varies by currency. So that can be quite useful if you want to generate interest in US dollars, for example. You can just convert your money on the platform and then do that. And I think you'd be getting 3% instead of 2%, which is the current euro interest rate.
That's good. They also allow you to sign up without a tax ID, Jan. Did you know this? So if you haven't got your tax ID yet, you're new in a country, then you get a 90-day window to get it. So you can start banking immediately, which I could see that being quite good for an expat, someone who's recently moved to another country. Is this account free? They make a big deal out of Bunq being for free, but I know you've complained to me in the past about how expensive this account is.
Yeah, it's kind of, they have a free tier, but it's not really usable, if you ask me. So it's not a true true free tier. It's very limited.
Okay.
Yeah, many limitations there. If you're interested in Bunq, I would definitely recommend one of the paid plans. You don't need to go ahead and purchase the most expensive one, but I think the starter plan. What does that cost, Johnny?
Yeah, no, I've got it in front of me here. So you've got Bunq Core for €3.99. You've got Pro for $9.99, and Elite. Elite is $18.99, all in euros. It's fascinating, isn't it, to see these accounts? We're talking about, say, the top tier Revolut account, Metal, in euros is, I believe, $13.99. So it's cheaper than Elite, and you get a whole bundle of subscriptions. So what are Bunq doing, Jan, that gives them this right to charge us €19 for Elite?
Offering credit cards, I guess. That's probably the reason. No, I don't know, Johnny. It's not making too much sense to me.
They do make a big deal out of being really expat friendly, So, this is an account that, you can sign up from home. So if you're not necessarily in the country you're moving to, like I said, regarding the tax ID, it does include travel insurance as well. You could see this being potentially beneficial for someone who's moving abroad, maybe as a student. And obviously you have the multi-currency functionality there, but it's quite difficult, isn't it, to say, look, you've got 3 accounts now that we've discussed, Wise, Revolut, Bunq, and they're all basically available to most people inside, Europe, most countries. Bunq and Revolut are sort of close together, but you still would pick Wise, wouldn't you, over those two?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're not looking for a paid account, then for sure Wise would be my gold standard.
Wise, of course, it's free.
One thing to mention here, though, you were just briefly talking about Bunq Elite. They do give you the ability to earn points, which can be used as a cashback. Can be quite useful. So similar to Rev Points, Bunq has their own Bunq Points. We could look into that in a later episode. Could be quite useful in the way to earn that money back that you spent on the plan.
An account that's available in the UK, one that I've talked about before. I made a few years ago a video on the best and worst multi-currency accounts, and I actually put this account as my pick for worst. At the time, but also at the time, Jan, I didn't have access to the account, but I was quite I was quite put off by the fact that the exchange rates weren't that transparent. So I couldn't really tell people precisely what they would pay when making a currency exchange. But now I've gone ahead and opened an account. So this is the HSBC Global Money account. I had to open a current account first of all, and then I was able to access the Global Money account. It is an account where you can essentially just hold various currencies, Jan. There aren't local account details like Wise. You can just hold 18 different currencies. So you would deposit British pounds into this account and then hold them. Now, the exchange rates were a little bit frightening. Maybe frightening is a bit aggressive. I did have a look at British pounds to Swiss francs, which approximately had a 1.52% margin fee. Pounds to euros was 1.04%. These are higher than Wise. Australian dollar wasn't too bad, 0.86. But what frightened me, or what bothered me the most, was the British pound to US dollar exchange rate with the Global Money account. Arguably, probably the most or the busiest, possibly not. Pound to euro is probably very busy, but pound to dollar is also quite a busy exchange.
Euro to US dollar is the busiest currency pair, most often traded.
Nice, thank you. Well, this one must be relatively popular, and it was 1.42% when I checked, which I don't think that's good enough. I think that's pretty significant. So even if you're an HSBC user thinking, well, this is a really convenient way for me to hold dollars and spend them internationally, you'd still be better off getting just a Wise card and just transacting at the point of sale or exchanging ahead of time. Because right now, I mean, what a Wise offering right now, 1,000 British pounds to let's just have a look at this, to US dollars, it is a 0.47%
Wow.
fee, 0.47%.
It's a percent less.
I'd say, look, the Global Money account is convenient. It is, look, it's a legacy bank. It's HSBC's attempt at being, digital, modern. It's their go at it, but it's still it comes with the legacy fees that these banks try to get away with charging.
And I really don't like the fact that they're hiding the exchange rates before you actually go ahead and open the account.
Agreed.
That's just not nice, Nowadays, you can't do that. It's just intransparent.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sure there's some people listening to this or watching this that do have the Global Money account.
But it's not the worst multi-currency account, is it?
It's not.
You found another
It's
one.
not.
That's definitely on the worst side.
This account isn't even one account, it's two accounts. This is NatWest's attempt at doing like a multi-currency global account. They've got a travel account which links a euro and a USD wallet to your debit card, so you could have these accounts, and spend this currency, and you can withdraw up to 200 euros and $200. It's all right. It's not really multi-currency, but you think that, well, why couldn't you have loads of different currencies? Why has it just got to be euros and dollars? Well, for some crazy reason, Jan, they also have the cash management account. So they have two accounts, and the cash management account allows you to hold up to 25 currencies, but doesn't have a debit card.
Wow. How does that make sense even?
I don't know why they just don't merge them.
Yeah.
I don't. The cash management account is kind of positioned as like a savings account for foreign currencies. So you think, okay, that could be interesting. But they don't even put the savings rates on the website. You have to contact them to find out, if you've not signed up, what the savings rates are. And I just think that is a red flag. I just want to jump back to the Global Money account quickly. And one thing I didn't mention is just to give it some benefit, just to say that you could deposit foreign currency at a bank branch, Jan, with that Global Money account, which could be beneficial, right? If you come home from somewhere and you've got large sums. You're laughing, but it's true. I'm just trying to find a reason. There is something there, right? You could walk into an HSBC branch at least and deposit US dollars.
So arriving to the UK with lots of Colombian pesos, that could be useful for that, right? I mean, the way you say it, it sounds quite criminal, but I don't know, man. It's obviously there are also legal use cases.
What about the use cases though? Tell me some use cases for these accounts. Who is the Wise account mainly for?
Yeah, Wise is probably best for most people looking to get a multi-currency account, and it's great for getting paid in multiple currencies because they offer the most local account details by far, and they offer the mid-market rate whenever there's a currency conversion. Do have a fee, we mentioned that, but it's moderate. And if you're looking to have one app that handles everything, Revolut is the answer. It's great, super intuitive, not the best banking product, to be honest. That's due to the fees that we mentioned and the plan limits. If you're looking for a credit card and you're residing within the EU, look at Bunq. Could be a great option.
Moving
Super
abroad.
easy to get. You can sign up within 5 minutes, and as Johnny mentioned, you don't need to add your tax ID for the first 90 days, which can be useful if you just move to a EU country, for example. And if you're an HSBC customer, an existing one, potentially a very wealthy one, maybe one that arrives to the UK with large sums of foreign cash every month, then that's your account. The HSBC Global Money account is convenient then. But jokes aside, it's clear, right, what the best option is.
Yeah, I think so. And look, if you've got a multi-currency account that we haven't talked about today, let us know in the comment section, because I think it'd be really interesting to see if there's any others that we haven't covered. We can talk about them in future episodes. And if you are currently using any of the accounts we've talked about today, could you just let us know why? Because I think it's always fascinating to hear like what people's use cases are for these accounts. Like I hear some fascinating cases when people say, yeah, I use my Wise account to get paid in like a really exotic currency that they somehow happen to freelance and work for a company in that country. I think that's always really, really insightful.
And maybe last recommendation, under no circumstances you should go ahead and sign up for the NatWest Travel account or the cash management account. Doesn't make sense if you ask me. There are far better options out there.
Okay, everybody, if you enjoyed today's episode, if you're watching us on YouTube, please do give us a like. You can subscribe to the channel as well. That'd be amazing. And if you're listening to us, what do they do, Jan?
Rate us 5-star on these podcast platforms.
That'd be nice.
Spotify, Apple Music, all of these, ideally. All right. Thanks, everyone. It's been a pleasure as always. Bye.